Thomas, welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So I am in the car. I wanted to respond to the Khanna dust up. I knew I was going to get a fair amount of pushback on the video, but I thought it was going to be from a different source, if that makes sense. Look, guys, I agree with Debbie on probably 95% of the items that we come across. But there's a problem. I mean, so think of it this way, at least think of the way I think about it. There's a consistent thread in everything that I'm doing that says, we need another party. We need another party. We desperately need another party. Now, pursuant to that needing another party, there is no other party just yet. Like, it's one of those things of, yes, you could say Khanna has all these issues associated with them, and I would agree that there are issues associated with them. But this goes to a larger question. What does it mean? Who are you voting for? There's not a Democrat that you're going to vote for. Look, personally, I'm not voting for a Democrat, so put that into the cake. But if that means you're locked out of the political process until you find another vehicle to which to vote for, so what do? Do you just stay outside of the political process? Or do you try to find people who are middle grounds, who are passable in some way? And I'm not necessarily saying Khanna is passable. I'm saying that the question needs to be asked. In the other videos I did this video on this idea of what does it mean for progressivism? What does it mean legally, meaning transitioning from where we are now to something like that? That's a leftist thing. That's what does it mean to be part of the left? Here's the catch. In that video, nothing I said was false. I think people dislike it because it's saying something about Khanna that's not necessarily positive or negative. I think you guys are taking neutral for being a negative thing. It's a weird thing. The video was purely neutral. It was, they said this about him, he said this about himself. I'm not saying you should vote for him. I'm not saying you should back him. I'm saying this is a candidate that has certain policies that seem to be progressive. All of those things are true. Now, I suspect what you dislike about him is he's part of the Democratic Party, meaning he's functioning as part of the machine. So yes, if you have a candidate who considers himself a Democrat, are you going to find emails where he's doing things just like the other Democrats? Yes. Are you going to find a situation where that guy might have had $50 million or that he had the ability to organize or generate that much money? Yes, you will. The larger question you need to ask is, if we're not doing Democrats, which I agree, I'm not, what are you going to do? What are you going to organize? What situation are you going to create where you can actually be a part of the political process? Because, look, I love Debbie to death. But I've said before, her values are a bit different than mine. I think I've said her values are better than mine. I want to move the ball forward. I want to do more than just talk about it on YouTube. If that means saying there are going to be some Democrats who are going to be ghastly in many capacities, and let's for the moment talk about Khanna. Khanna has that WikiLeaks thing where he wrote that particular email talking about all the money that he could generate and everything else. Now, if you're full on the Justice Democrat bandwagon, that's a problem. You said that your only criteria is this person is not going to accept money from third-party donations and everything else. Well, that looks like a lot of money to me. That looks like a lot of money to me. And on the second part, this idea of attacking Tulsi Gabbard and all. Yes, you guys misunderstand this idea of neutrality, of saying, all right, this is something he needs to answer for, which is true. With this idea of support, just because I'm not just outright bashing the guy. I understand this whole idea of interrogating the individual in the sense of being a part of whoever the candidate is. But it still asks the exact same question. My goal in this is not necessarily to get people to full compliance or agreement. You can full on disagree with me, but understand what you're disagreeing with. My disagreement is, at least in this particular case, if you want to have anything to do with the political process, if you're trying to create a third party, that's fine. That goal is a notable goal. The last few videos have been, what does it mean to be progressive? How do you accomplish that legislatively? The larger question that you're kind of confronted with, though, is there is no vehicle for that. The Democratic Party is not a vehicle. The left doesn't really have anything as an alternative to that particular vehicle. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like, you're stuck in this process of, yes, we want something different. Yes, we want a certain level of purity. No, we don't particularly like this particular Democrat because this Democrat has black markers against him. Okay, fair enough. Do you just not vote indefinitely? Do you just not vote until you get to the point where you have a party to which to vote for? I'm saying that, do you move the goal, do you move the ball down the field with the exact idea of, yes, we need another party? When it comes to me, I look at it as, yes, I want to move the ball down the field. At the same token, I want another party. That's just the way I function. It's the way I look at things. I think that there could be disastrous consequences leaving things as the way they are, particularly in Washington. I think that it's a better alternative than to put somebody who's imperfect, you may even call gross in regards to the way he functions, but advocates policies that you yourself would agree with. Now, does it matter that the individual at one point had received a bunch of money? Maybe. To the person. It depends on the person. Does it matter that the person attacked Tulsi and everything else functioning at the behest of the Democratic Party? Again, that boils down to the individual. Because look, I gotta be honest, you can say the same thing about Sanders. You can say the same thing about Sanders. You can say Sanders covered up for the cheating. He did do that. You can say Sanders is functioning for the machine and is fomenting this thing against Russia. Yes, he's doing that. You can say Sanders was talking about regime change, getting Bashar al-Assad out of his seat. Yes, you can say that. All those things are true. All of those things are Sanders functioning with the machine. Khanna is a Democrat. If a Democrat comes up, you're going to get a Democrat. Even if they call themselves a Justice Democrats, ultimately the person is a Democrat. Meaning, yes, the person is going to function at the behest of the machine. And yes, you're going to see all the vagaries associated with the person because the person is a Democrat. If you want something different, if you want something else, let's get together and make a choice on what's that something else. But here's the catch. Anybody Justice Democrats puts up, unless the person is somewhat new to the political process, it's going to have vagaries associated with the person. That's all I'm saying. My whole point in that video was, I want us to unite. Not in a false way. But I realize that there is no way for a fragmented party, or no way for a fragmented thing. When I'm saying party, I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm talking about progressives. There's no way for this level of fragmentation to persist itself and you acquire power. You can't have it both ways. You create a broad base of support, meaning you may have to deal with the likes of Khannas, particularly if they're in Congress, particularly if you want to get your legislative agenda accomplished. Or you could be to the point of saying, yeah, I'm not voting for any other Democrat, and if they have any black mark, I don't want any parts of it. You can do those things. The question becomes outcome. The question is outcome. What are you doing to advance the ball? Is it possible to advance the ball with an imperfect candidate at the exact same time of trying to create your own thing, with the idea of not needing that imperfect candidate at some point? That's the fair question. I honestly think that's the fair question. Yes, somebody was like, this is a travesty. This is the worst video in the history of videos. It's like, dude, bring it down, man. Bring it down. I get you guys are questioning Khanna. You should question every candidate. I don't care who the candidate is. You shouldn't question them. But you're still presented with a problem. The left. There is no left. Yes, there's a left in the sense of you have all these people who are fractured into these different areas. But what does that mean for political clout and political influence? Is that not the question? And even if you're going to say this person transformed themselves to deal with the particular agenda, the question is, do you believe that they full well believe that agenda? If you full well believe that, then you've just mangled somebody into your position. You've forced them into your position, which is kind of what you were trying to do in the first place, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's what Sanders was trying to do. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I just saw this and I was like, I understand these people have some feelings about Khanna. No, I'm not supporting the guy. Even in that video, I never said you should vote for the guy. I never even said you should support the guy. I treated it as a he said, she said. They said this. He said this. Now, you can disbelieve what he's saying, but ultimately I still say this is one of those things where he needs to answer for it. And the fact that he's a Democrat means you're going to get the stuff that just comes along with the process of him being a Democrat. I don't want to vote for a Democrat. So I would never tell anybody to push for Khanna or otherwise. I'm just saying you're stuck with this interesting situation of what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do you just not vote in perpetuity until you find somebody who's a candidate who you can vote for, meaning somebody in a different party? Or do you strategically vote to try to advance the ball forward while at the same time realizing, all right, we need to create our own thing because nothing else gets accomplished until we create our own thing. We want to change the structure itself. My thread, or the thread that I'm going with, is pretty straightforward. You can see in the videos. Move the ball forward. Get the ball forward as much as you can possibly get the ball forward until you get to the point where you yourself can assert your legislative agenda. That's the way I function. That's what I function. I mean, granted, Democrats will call it a purist. I guess the audience for this particular channel would maybe even call it being a sellout. I look at it as, what are my objectives? How do I accomplish my objectives? And if there's an imperfect candidate, when I have no other choice for a candidate, and this isn't so imperfect as a Hillary Clinton level. This guy's presenting stuff that, yeah, I like. I'm not against. It's like, if you're voting for a Democrat at all, you're going to get a Democrat. If that makes sense. So the question becomes, is Democratic Party off limits? That's an interesting question. And I think that's at the heart of this Khanna stuff. Anybody who you vote for, if it's a Justice Democrat, that person is still a Democrat. The question that you need to ask yourself is, are we voting for Democrats? Regardless. So yeah, if Tulsi Gabbard runs, would you vote for Tulsi? Maybe. Short of Tulsi, short of Nina Turner, would you vote for any other Democrat? That's the question you need to ask yourself. In addition to, what are you trying to accomplish in the meantime, since there is no left organization as a bulwark, as a, as a force of sorts. Yes, I want you to create that. And yes, my other videos is making this point of, yes, we need the left to form up, create your summits and everything else. Even in that video, I kind of made the point of, if you're trying to stop Justice Democrats, this is the way to stop Justice Democrats. Or at the very least, this is the way to get them to come to you, or come to your particular side. Because look, you're always, from their standpoint, they're trying to get people in office to affect a particular legislative will. They care less about the purity of the candidate, if that makes sense. They care about, what can we put in office to achieve XYZ. So if you're going to vote for a Democrat, you're stuck with voting for a Democrat. The point I made in the last part of the video was, if you want to get them to talk to you, meaning if you want to get them to have a conversation with you, and to summit with you, and come to some consensus on the things that you want to accomplish, you're not going to get that by asking. You're not going to get that by wringing your hands, and you're not going to get that by complaining to them. You're going to get that by forcing them to come to you, meaning that guy's not getting elected unless the Justice Democrats comes and have a conversation with the other part of the left. For that to work, you need a left. You need a left. You actually need a left to have the conversation with. It's like the conversation, like I was talking to this guy in Israel, and I was making this point about Palestine, and he was like, yeah, but who's that? Who's that? Who is Israel going to have a conversation with? Now, granted, he was being flippant, but I think it applies to this conversation. Yes, you guys can hate Khanna. No, I don't particularly like Khanna. No, I don't necessarily want to vote for a Democrat. Yes, I am fully aware that there is no left in the sense of opposition, in a sense, meaning that if you're dealing with a Democrat, that's the person you're going to get, a Democrat. Does Khanna have issues that needs to be addressed? Yes. The WikiLeaks things are pretty damning. And by the way, I actually did watch Debbie's video before pushing that video. At the time I did the video, I hadn't watched it. But nothing changed from the process of me writing the video. So, yeah, I still released it. Yeah, guys, you need to make a decision on what you want to do in regards to the parties. If the goal is not to vote Democrat, then, yeah, it doesn't matter who they put up. It doesn't matter who Justice Democrats put up. He's going to be a Democrat. So, yeah, he's going to have that mark against him. But at the same token, it means you're locking yourself out the political process. And that candidates who come up, who may actually be decent on some fronts and miserable on other fronts, get a pass. The question is, what is that bar? You're not going to get a perfect candidate. There is no such thing as purity in this sense. And again, if you're voting for a Democrat, you're going to get a Democrat. What's the bar? What's the bar? This is not me saying vote for Khanna. This is me kind of posing this question of, if you're getting what you want policy-wise, and that's not enough. Like, it becomes one of those things of, all right, Democrats are off the table. Fair enough. Then that means everything is off the table. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support the work through Patreon. Thanks.